Hi, I'm Glenn Whipp with the Los Angeles Times. We're in the middle of Emmy Contender conversations, and joining us today, Anna Chlumsky.
Hi.
From Veep.
Yes.
5-time nominee.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go.
And here we are again for the last season.
For the last season. Yeah.
Where did you kind of fall on the emotional spectrum of dealing with the end? Because talk to Reed Scott, he was like,
yeah, no,
not
he was
gonna cry, not gonna cry,
he was the most stoic.
Timothy Simons seemed like he was in a fetal position the entire
yes,
time.
I think that Timothy Simons and I were spooning in that fetal position. Yeah, I was pretty much a wreck every single time one of the cast members got wrapped out. And even like the moments that you thought, oh, I'm cried out, or I'm and then you would just hear like Dave Mandel, our showrunner, would come out and he'd be like, well, I can't, and you'd be like, oh no, it's like it almost became Pavlovian.
So you had no idea what he was going to say, but
like
even just
well, we
like
knew who he was. We knew who he would wrap out because we knew who was doing their last scene all week.
A lot of cast members.
A lot of cast members. There was 11 wrap outs like that. Yeah, and plus guests too. So it was, yeah, it was profound. It was pretty awesome though. I don't know. I'm very touchy feely, so I really enjoyed getting to kind of have that emotional intimacy with the people that I'd spent the last 8 years with. So yeah, it's great.
Without spoiling things, like was Amy's wrap out like a big thing, or was it just like some small scene?
I was really, I was pretty grateful. I think I was the penultimate wrap out, I think.
Julia was
the last, and that was just momentous. I mean,
right.
It was they have photos somewhere of what we call Video Village, which is where all the, everybody gathers around the monitors throughout production. But that last day, like, all of us had our family members and people just, I mean, it was easily 60 to 100 people, like, at Video Village, just waiting.
Big village.
This big village, yeah. Which, by the way, is like a perfect metaphor for, a filming crew, like a big village, yeah. But yeah, it was momentous when Julia wrapped. I think I was, yeah, I feel like Tim and I were the penultimate scene, yeah.
So we have a little clue there.
I suppose it's a clue. We're in the finale. That's the clue you got. Because we don't shoot in order.
We're talking after 2 episodes have aired.
Yes.
The third one that's coming up.
Yeah.
It kind of puts Amy in a little bit of a place where she might have her most challenging campaign ever.
Oh, well, yeah. By the end, yes, absolutely. I think that's why she's drawn to it.
Yeah.
I don't know how much. Are we?
Well, it's funny
live?
because it's live, and most people are going to watch it though after today.
Right.
So,
right.
But yeah,
so, yeah. Speaking in veiled, speaking in code.
Various people running for president. And
Indeed,
and
Amy
up with.
And yeah, by the end of the next
fun.
episode, she's gonna get she'll be fielding some other offers.
Yeah.
We'll put it that way for code. But yeah, it's I think that she doesn't have the status and trust of Selina that she used to, and I think she just she kind of wants to go big or go home at this point.
Right.
Yeah.
She's going big in the most crazy way. I think anyone watching this can probably figure it out.
Yeah.
And I think she's probably feeling a little underappreciated too, because like in, I think the first episode, there's like she's delivering sort of a report on the last campaign. It's a binder that's about this thick.
Yeah.
And
she's been, Amy's been underappreciated for at least 3 seasons. I think for the last 4 seasons, she's been underappreciated. So yeah, it's pretty safe to say that binder was going to swiftly end up in the wastepaper basket.
Well, she's identifying kind of a culture of blame.
Yeah.
And no one wants to hear that in that group, do they? And they're blaming Amy.
Well, I don't think they all are. I think if you watch Kevin's reaction and stuff, I think it's Kevin playing Ben, and Gary Cole playing Kent, you can kind of see that it's more like she's the fall, she's the fall girl. It's like let her say it because we all know it, but she's the one who has to. She's the one who's foolish enough to think that it's going to land on fertile ground.
Like somebody's going to listen.
Yeah,
that
exactly.
Selina's actually going to pay attention to what's being said.
Yeah, no.
Even though, I mean, that's always the thing that's asked about, like, why would she stay with all these, incompetent people? But Amy's kind of the most competent of the incompetent.
I think she has the most potential for competency.
It's there.
Yeah, and especially in the beginning. But, I remember from the beginning of this whole series, she has a really good face of competency, but she's... But, one of our real chiefs of staff of the vice president twice, Ron Kling, was quick to point out that, like, a lot of the stuff she actually did in that administration, even the first season of Veep, like, was really faulty. Like, it's like Amy, you are not being a good chief of staff. So, yeah.
Maybe not.
Yeah. I think she's sort of always been in over her head, and I think she's always sort of not wanted people to see, like, behind, look at the man behind the curtain type, or look at the Amy behind the curtain. Anyway.
The season 6 ended with something of an Amy cliffhanger.
Yeah.
Where she tells Dan that
she's pregnant.
And it's yours, buddy.
And it's his, yeah.
Did you talk to the writers before?
I did not know before that table read that we were doing that. But then, yes, like before we embarked on season 7, Dave and I spoke often and exchanged many emails. And I'm so grateful to how open and collaborative he was, and that the whole writing staff was in shaping the season 7 arc for Amy. Like I felt very much a part of that process, which was so gratifying. Yeah.
And it could have gone so many ways. This season starts about 2 months after 6 ends, but it could have started 9 months in the delivery room.
Yeah, it could have started
2
anywhere.
years.
Exactly.
And she would have a baby.
Oh God, yeah. It's funny. I didn't even think of, like, I didn't even. Yeah, it could have. You're right. There were many ways to sort of, explore all those possibilities without having to, like, go through the whole, like, what we had just gone through with Catherine, sort of thing. You know what I mean?
Right.
But yeah, I think we landed on exactly what was organic for Amy and her life and her journey.
Was that kind of what you were conveying in your emails?
Yeah.
I mean, was that,
Yeah, both. Well, we were very much on the same page from the get-go, but it's like that conversation has to, you don't find that out until you ask, and so it was a really lovely thing to just be, included in a lot of those ideas, so.
It did strike me that it took her a long time to realize that maybe Dan was not good parent material.
It's taken her, like, this whole series.
Right?
Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing. When you go to when you learn about theater and you learn, the big question is, like, well, why, when you write a play or you write a teleplay or a screenplay, it's like, well, why this day, right? Like, why is this the part of this character's journey that we are focusing on, And in a series, sometimes you don't get the luxury to figure that out until it is complete. And so now that we have gotten to the end of it, I've been able to, like, personally just, like, connect a lot of the dots of, like, the very first time we meet Amy all the way to where we end, and it feels very much like a part of the why this part of Amy's journey has to do with her relationships, both with Selina and with Dan. Like, I think a lot of this has been, like, these 8 years for her have been sort of turning points for her, and a lot of them, I think, hinged on how she can handle these people that she probably cared about more than any other person,
Which is
and
sad,
what that
right?
means. Yeah, exactly. It's very sad. And so that's, yeah, by the end, we, you know, I think she really meets Amy again. I think she kind of falls back in love with Amy.
Well, that's good.
It's kind of a pithy way of putting it, but it's, yeah, it is good for her.
Yeah.
I think for us it's terrifying, but you guys will see what I mean.
Because, yeah, Reed was saying that we do get some Dan and Amy closure.
Yeah.
I was kind of hoping, just based on how horrible Dan is and that little arc that opens the season.
Yeah.
I hope that the closure really lands on his head.
Yeah, you know what? I can't even speak that yeah, there doesn't seem to be any sort of comeuppance.
Yeah.
Veep's
not really like that.
No, believe it or not, we're a little bit more, you know, understanding of like the gray area in a way, you know, and it's, yeah, at least in their journey, because yeah, it's sort of tender and lovely that there's a great deal of acceptance, I think, that comes from their experience together in this season, which I think was surprising for both Reed and myself. Of just like, even in the playing of it, like going, oh, look at that, like look at how kind that can be, and yeah, so it's yeah, it was neat to discover that so late in the game, even.
Were you surprised? You talked about how emotional you got that last week or that last episode. Did that take you by surprise, or did you know going in that you were going to be like?
I don't know. I think I knew it would be momentous, and I think that, you know, like, because when I got the phone call, this was almost 2 years ago, I suppose, if I can do the math right. That we were ending, the first emotion was just profound gratitude. And then after I got off the phone with Julia, I pulled the car over and just had like a catharsis cry. And so I knew that all of that was there. Do you know what I mean? So like that was my first sort of introduction to like where I was at emotionally with this entire process that we've been through. And so, yeah, it wasn't surprising that we were all it wasn't surprising for me that I was feeling as much as I was, but I think what surprised me and happily surprised me was how much we all shared that. I don't think I knew necessarily that everybody else felt the same way. Yeah. So it was kind of neat to realize that.
Were you alone in the car when she called?
Yeah, I was on my way to my fantasy football league's draft.
So you had a terrible team this year, right?
I've always had a terrible team. It's just don't even. I do not know how to play fantasy football. I am the worst.
But you continue.
Yeah, I don't know. I like the guys I'm in the league with. They're really nice guys.
Your favorite team is the Bears. Are you like a homer when it comes to drafting your team's players?
No, I'm definitely not.
Like stay away from Bears.
Yeah, I go very much based on, like, you know, on the rankings, and it just never works. I end up drafting even a great, like what looks like a great team, and then it's just injury city. I'm always dinged by injuries. That's just, anyway.
Yeah, that's a little sideline. But that's interesting that's because I was wondering, like, if your kids were in the car with you,
no, it was night. No, it was evening.
What's wrong?
I know, right? It would be different.
Pulling off to the side of the road and weeping like a baby.
My girls are really good about accepting tears. It's really sweet, actually. Yeah, we watch enough Daniel Tiger to know that that it's okay to be sad sometimes.
Yeah.
So I think they would have been okay with it, but
that's a lesson that Daniel Tiger is like runs. My kids are older now. So.
Yeah, it's a great show. But yeah, there's a song, like, it's okay to be sad sometimes. Little by little, you'll feel better again. Yeah. Anyway.
So you were singing that on the set.
All the time.
It was running through your head.
I think I did sing that several times to several people, probably. And then the whole last day, leading up to my last shot, I was just playing Chris Jackson singing One Last Time, like. on my
phone.
Like
diving deep
into it.
You were embracing
yeah, when do you get that moment again? Ever, you know, that's it. That's the one.
So what are you going to miss most about the show?
The relationships. I mean, ultimately, because that's the one thing I know won't be repeated in some way, because we, even though we'll continue our, to know each other and revere each other and love each other from here on out, that group won't be getting together to be together to play those characters and in that setting ever again. So that's, yeah, so the way that was is now past. And so that's, yeah, that's what I think every once in a while we'll miss. I'll miss it.
Right, right. I mean, you're talking about kind of Amy's journey. I mean, what do you think about your own journey? Like when you think about like when you started on this show several years ago and where you are now, what's
life-changing? I mean, it's been life-changing, and that's a lot of what many of us. It's been that for us. We, and that is why I think we all really did dive in to the emotional quality of this rap, because it, like I think. I'm trying to think of how many babies were born during the course of the show.
Right. Yeah, I was thinking about that.
2, 3, 4. I mean, at least I think 6.
You know how like the Pixar movies do at the end of the credit, the production babies. Yeah,
because oh my gosh, those films take forever to make in a similar amount of time, and so yeah, it's yeah. So it's many of us. I mean, yeah, a lot of us didn't really have any sort of regular source of income before, and now and maybe now we we have something better to call nest eggs or whatever. So that's a great that's a grown-up feeling, and then there's it's just the kids, man. Like the fact that all of us have these just grown family, these families that have grown as the Veep show has grown. It's just, like I say, it's profound. And then yeah, career-wise, I mean, I don't know. Many of us had never, been nominated for awards before, and now all of us have a SAG, and like, Tony has some Emmys. It's, I mean, Julia had plenty of Emmys, but she broke records.
Yeah.
I mean, this has been life-changing for everyone. Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny, because Dan and Amy, definitely not parent material. No. Dan for sure. Amy, well.
No, I don't think so.
But Reed and Anna, pretty good.
Yeah, both of us had. We both had like parents. we both had 2 kids. He has 2 boys. I have 2 girls, and yeah, it's neato. It's just awesome.
Where do you think Amy's going to be in 10 years?
10 years, I feel like she's setting up one of these kind of BS consulting shops, where it's sort of a law firm, but it's sort of a lobbyist firm, and it's also kind of a media consulting. Like, and she's just like, it's everything. It's my firm. You know what I mean? It's like, it's just a place for her to have power.
Well, that sounds like a good thing for her.
That's what she'll do.
Right?
Yeah. I think so. I think that's what she'd be doing. We'll see.
We have some what we call lightning round questions. We're just starting, so I'm gonna ask you a few here. What performer on TV totally blows you away?
I want to get it right. What performer on TV right now totally blows me away?
It's a big question.
I know, and I have.
You can skip and come back.
Yeah, I have plenty. You
want to land on the right one.
But and this is not lightning round. I mean, that's not lightning.
Just top of your head, Daniel the Tiger.
I'm trying to think. Yeah, right. No, okay. Well, yeah, could do.
Do you have any show that you binge watch with 2 little kids?
I do get through. I get through The Crown pretty quickly. I watch Call the Midwife in many episodes at a time. There are so many things to watch, obviously, but Better Call Saul.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you watch Game of Thrones?
I've seen every episode. Yes.
So who do you think's going to win?
I think the White Walkers will win.
Okay. What classic TV show would you have loved to be on?
I don't know. It's funny. It's because they have a movie coming back. I don't even know if we can call it classic anymore. Like, but Deadwood was one.
Right.
Yeah.
They got the movie coming up.
Yeah, I know. Isn't it amazing? And I don't, it's like it wasn't that long ago.
I know.
But classic. I don't know. Maybe the original Twin Peaks was pretty cool.
You'd like to do some fire walking and
Just
talk
cuckoo.
To,
it's just totally cuckoo.
What's the worst job you've ever had?
Worst job I've ever had. As fond as I am of having had my entry-level position out of college, being a fact checker at Zagat was pretty rough.
I read that. Like, what do you do as a fact checker? Just
you work at the Los Angeles Times. You should ask your guys fact checkers.
For Zagat, what do you do?
We were in a room with no windows, three of us just going through a worksheet, like a program, and cold calling every single property in all of the books to
make
sure that
all
we
the
had their
particulars.
cross
So none of the
streets right.
none of the fun stuff, none of the snarky
there was
opinions.
any fun stuff, because the snarky. This is the big misconception about Zagat. They were super democratic. So the surveyors were the ones writing those reviews. If you look at the guide, everything's in quotes. They're all blurb quotes, and that's because there were no writers. They were editors, and so what they would do is take the surveys that people would write in, and they would take little blurbs from those and then compile an intelligible paragraph by using surveyors. So yeah, there was never any food writing. So the happiest people there were pollsters, were people who were math majors and things.
The unhappiest were the fact checkers.
Were the people who thought we were going to be food writers. Yeah, exactly. Anyway.
Well, thanks for coming back.
Thank you. Thanks so much.
Can't wait for this finale.
Oh, yeah.
It sounds amazing.
It'll be I know who blew me away in TV this year. Bonnie Hunt. And she was in the Escape from Dannemora.
Oh, yeah.
Or Escape from.
Yeah.
I just was like, and I love her so much, and I feel like I haven't seen her really get to do something just super meaty with that much screen time in a while, and I thought she just killed it. I thought she just killed that role. Anyway, so yeah, and I kept saying it. So I was looking for when have I been on my couch just going, oh, and that's what made me, I was like, go Bonnie. Yeah, anyway.
That was a good show to binge watch too.
It was, yeah. I'm halfway through.
Okay.
I can't wait.
They escape.
Yeah, it's in the title.
All right.
Thank you.
Well, for more of these Emmy conversations, you can go to latimes.com, and thanks for watching today.